Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro, Texas. It is February 17th, 2026, 5:30 p.m. We call this meeting to order.
Good afternoon, all. Starting with item number 2, establishment of quorum. Andrew Arroyos,
Here.
David Estrada,
Here.
Julie Dominguez, absent. Osvaldo Reza,
Here.
Yolanda Rodriguez. Here. Rafael Carrillo, absent. We have quorum with 4 commissioners present. Moving on to item number 3, open forum. Alfredo, do we have anyone that would like to speak?
Not at the moment.
Thank you, Alfredo. Moving on to item number 4, consent agenda.
I have a quick question on the consent agenda. I just want to make sure that the one, Socorro Distribution Drive, that's the one over here, it's the warehousing over here off of Nuevo Hueco Tanks?
Yes.
Yes. No,
Okay.
yes, part of the Socorro
Oh.
Logistics subdivision.
Okay, part of all the warehousing that's there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
The consent agenda, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approve, second by Osvaldo Reza. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 5, the staff would now like to request to delete item. A property has been removed from the ETJ.
Okay, there are several neighbors that live in the subdivision adjacent to that parcel, so I think for information purposes, we'd like to, I guess, explanation as to why it's being removed.
The property was removed from the City of Socorro's ETJ along with the Pecan Valley petition for removal from the ETJ. It was approved by City Council on January the 17th. If that's not, that might be incorrect, yes, January 17th.
Okay, so give me a couple seconds just to process, okay? So you mentioned Pecan Valley Estates, is that what you mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
So that entire subdivision that's already been built,
The
right? it's
Pecan
already-
Valley,
Pecan Valley is already established.
Pecan Valley, several other properties within in that area, in our ETJ, Pecan Valley, the established platted areas of Vista Bonita, as well as the Halva subdivision. There were petitions that were gathered, and they submitted an area they wanted to have removed from the ETJ, and their signatures satisfied the minimum requirements to have that area removed from the ETJ.
Okay, so the land.
I'm sorry, and Mr. Bhatti, do we have to go ahead and read the item if we're going to discuss the item before we go any further?
Yeah, if we're going to get into discussion, we would read the item, but, you know, what it sounds like then is that, and I think I remember discussing this, is this item actually, I guess, doesn't really exist anymore because the neighbors have removed that subdivision from the ETJ, which is why then there's no more pending application otherwise, because it kind of doesn't exist anymore. So it's from the actually homeowners there that have asked to remove it. So there's nothing really actually for planning and zoning to consider.
Well, how
But,
about
and I don't know if
discussing-
I can't see, are there any people there in person to discuss the item as well, or
Yes.
Yes,
out in the audience?
Yes.
yes.
Oh, okay.
But us not being able to take any action on the item because it's been removed.
We're
Does that-
requesting general information on the definition of ETJ, who would initiate, maybe the laws behind it, and what parcels are involved. So for example, the pecan orchard that's adjacent, has that been removed from the ETJ? And then if, I'm looking for definition of what that means going forward. For us, for the zoning commission, and then for the constituent, for the residents that live in that neighborhood, they're directly affected.
We can prepare an item for a future agenda.
I
There
don't- I
are
don't s-
several, there have already been 3 requests along with this one to have property removed from the ETJ. And they go directly to city council.
And
they don't-
just to clarify, so do we have people signed up to speak on this item, or is it, we just have people interested there?
No one signed up to speak.
No.
There are people who
I
signed
think-
up for item number 5.
Sorry. Yes, we do have people who signed in to speak.
Okay, what I might suggest doing, the best way to handle it is this: if the chair can make a motion to delete the item and then have a second, and then before you do anything else, then say, I'll open up for discussion, and then just discuss it, and then let the people speak that whoever was signed up to speak.
Okay,
And then
so-
after that, then consider the motion.
So there's,
Kind of like the way city council usually handles those things, yeah.
So we'll go ahead and ask for a motion.
So what, okay, so we make a motion to delete item number 5, but we will open for discussion.
Second, and then open for discussion.
Yeah.
Take a second.
Okay.
Do I have a
Everybody good with
second?
that?
Well, he's really gonna ask for the motion.
He did,
Okay.
he made the motion.
Okay, so yeah, I'll make a motion to delete item number 5 from the table.
but how can we delete item number 5 and then discuss?
We haven't voted yet. We're going to call the
Yeah.
motion because that is what staff requested. And then
And then open
take
it
the
for
second,
discussion.
open for discussion.
Yeah.
If the motion needs to be changed, the motion can be reconsidered.
Okay, so
So we have a
So we
first
have-
and a second, and then open the discussion. It's not until you vote that you actually follow through with the motion item.
but then we can reopen it to discuss item number 5?
Right now, you're going to discuss the item.
Yeah.
After the second, you can
Yeah.
discuss it. It's not until a vote is taken that the item is closed.
Okay, so we're open at item number 5 right now then?
Right now, we
But
are
we gotta
with,
close it first.
But we gotta
We're
close
gonna
it. Wait,
delete
wait,
it
So
first,
we're
and then
gonna
I'm gonna
delete
open
it.
it up
for discussion.
for discussion.
Okay, so he made a motion, I'll second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to delete item number 5, and second by Yolanda Rodriguez. All those in
No,
favor?
no.
What?
Mr. Arroyos is
Yeah.
going to open the floor for discussion before
Right.
we take a vote.
Okay, I
Thank you.
apologize.
Yes, okay, so now I'll make a motion to open for discussion, item number 5.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Do we have to second that?
No, you
No,
are,
no,
your
yeah.
motion is second,
You-
and you've opened it for
Yeah.
discussion.
okay, so this is for clarification for myself, for the zoning board, and then for the residents that are present. So, who initiates the removal of the ETJ?
There are various ways that people can initiate removal from the ETJ. A person, a personal person of on their own property can request to be removed from the ETJ.
And then-
Another way that a property can be removed from the ETJ is through gathering petitions, and the petitions have to be more than 50% of the voting, registered voters in that area. Or, if they're gonna do that route, or they have to own a certain percentage above of the area that's being asked to be released from the ETJ.
Okay, and then, so all that, this particular one, how was it accomplished?
Through the petition.
Through the petitions? Okay, and
And-
then it was presented, it doesn't have to come through zoning? through
No.
Zoning, okay,
No.
so it went to
No.
city council this year in January,
Yes,
and
And-
city council voted to remove,
to release them from the ETJ.
to release them from the ETJ. Okay, can you show the parcels that are released on an aerial? Google Maps,
Can you go to
aerial?
Google Maps?
So if they're releasing the ETJ, where do they go?
It's just gonna be El Paso County
It's just-
managing it.
Dead land. Who can say, say?
Well, yeah, El Paso, now we even have to go to El Paso County to their meetings over there. Which at the beginning, either way, we had that interest.
Right. David que los pusieran primero.
Okay, ready? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So this is the area. If you can see my mouse hovering over the edge of the city limits across here, along Anderson, across North Loop, to Trent, behind this proposed Vista Bonita, Unit 2, and then the previously approved Unit 1, down through this property, up through here, down, back up to North Loop, across here, and excluding the area to the right, up and across.
So where is Rancho Marival?
Rancho Marival is right here.
Okay, can you continue tracing like you were tracing where you left off?
That was it. I came back up
Back
to
here?
Anderson,
And so that,
all of this.
and so all that right there.
So this is Pecan Valley, this is Vista Bonita, this is Grijalva Estates, and I believe there's another one
Okay, all of those pecan orchards?
are removed.
Okay, and so everything, everything but would be arterial, the proposed arterial one,
We don't have a
Well-
final arterial one alignment, but
but
yes, this is
basically
that was
line,
one of the
everything.
alignments that we're closely looking at. It ran across here.
So everything that's in purple, right, is, I'm assuming,
Basically.
Not everything.
Most of it.
But, yes.
Yeah.
Down across here. I'm drawing a little fuzzies just about to how far here, but we can,
Well, we actually are concerning the Rancho Marival
yeah,
right there. So that means, it's not included, right?
no, that's still part of the city.
So the street Tres Caballos is gonna be still permanently closed? Do we have to have him go up to the microphone? Can you please go up to the microphone and?
Did you want to
So
ask?
let me
Well,
continue
I-
asking questions.
Yeah, I think we'll open it up.
Okay, we're gonna let Mr. Estrada talk, and then we'll let each one of you come up.
Okay, so petition, signatures, the whole thing. So approved by city council, right? Okay. What does that mean for any future developments, any future parcels that are gonna be developed? Like, for example, the pecan orchard, they're gonna wanna come
The
up for.
plats will no longer come through our office.
They no longer come through the city of Socorro?
Yes,
Do they
the
go-
Planning and Zoning Commission office or heard by Planning and Zoning
Do
or
they go
approved by
through
city council. They would go through the county. Now they just have to go through the one process of getting
County.
approved by the county and
And-
following the county subdivision rules and regulations.
Okay, and city council, I'm assuming is aware of all that?
Yes,
And-
and it's very limited, to what the city can do to, deny an ETJ removal request.
Because
The
once-
legislation is such that if they pretty much ask to be released and they can provide that they have the requirements that they should be released.
Okay,
Yeah, and I was gonna add, if you don't mind, yeah, to add, what Ms. Lorraine said is, that's correct. So they changed the laws. I don't know if it was about 2 years ago or a year ago, but they basically, you can file these applications And if the application's complete, it's sent, and it's almost just even a letter. Sometimes it's a letter request. They send it to city council. They have the appropriate signatures. We look at it, make sure everything is in order. If it is, it gets set for a hearing and it gets approved. I mean, there's no, Texas changed the laws on that as well, that they want people to be able to opt out of, joining cities, and so they can remove themselves, and they made it a very simplified process, so.
So you're saying that this was a state law that passed a year and a half ago?
I'm sorry?
You were saying that this was a state law that passed a year ago?
Yes.
2 years ago?
Yeah, this is a state law. It may be about 2 years ago, so it wasn't this last September. I think it was the year before. And then Socorro, for the first time, I think almost immediately saw one of those applications. I remember looking at about November, December, so it's probably 2024, the first time I saw it. And we looked into it, and it was just a very expedited process for people to remove themselves from ETJs, so.
And Mr., I'll add a comment, and Mr. Body, correct me if I'm incorrect, but as it was to start off, we hardly had any decision over an ETJ. It was very difficult as a city because they would follow county ordinance per se, right? So now, I think they just decided to remove it from the city or coming from the city, because we're all finding out about this just right now, right? I mean, it was passed on January 16th? 17th with city council, so we're literally knowing about this, right? So I think the place we're all gonna have to go now too is the county at their meetings, because the county is the one that's overseeing these changes now, since they're ETJs, that the city has no jurisdiction over, per se, right? They literally traced them out right now, so it leaves us without anything to even say in regards to the topic, or be able to make any decision on, at least before. I think and like Ms. Quimito said, the city has some kind of authority or some regulations which are very minimal to do, right?
Right, just enforce our subdivision rules.
Exactly, something like that, but they're no longer passing it through planning and zoning or city council. I think everything would now be at the city's,
The county.
or the county's offices per se, right? It's just something that I wanted to throw out there in regards to discussing this item.
Yeah, everything you said, sir, was correct on that, actually. And it's kind of a push, I think, in Texas. Think a little bit maybe outside of El Paso, Socorro, but it's more of the Texas legislature. They're looking to protect, I think, probably ranchers that live outside of cities and are afraid that cities are going to incorporate them and take over their land and regulate them. And so this is all across Texas, is that they're trying to stop cities from growing bigger and bigger and letting people opt themselves out. And that's why. So they kind of favor rural development over urban development. And again, it's not as that more prevalent here, but probably more if you look at all those cities in the Dallas area, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, those things, those cities are huge. They keep growing, and they're ETJ, they keep going further and further out. And so that's why I think the legislature is trying to stop that. But yeah, they made it such an expedited process that, again, we had to look at it we had not seen a Socorro until immediately after it passed. And again, there's even specialized attorneys and law firms in some of those bigger cities that are kind of pushing these applications and know that process. But it's still meant to be very driven by the actual owners of the properties. And so if they all come in and they all sign and say, we don't want to be part of the city in the future, they can opt out, and that's really it. The city just receives the application. We just need to make sure that's legitimate, that it has correct signatures, is those people, and that's it, so.
Mr. Body, and to ask you a question, when this change happened, I understand that it was through a petition of somebody that owns more than 50% of the property, or more than 50% owners signed that.
Registered voters in the area.
Registered voters in the area, 50% of them all petitioned that this would happen, right? That they would be removed from the city, and then the county would take, or it was already the county's, but for everything just to go through the county. Is that for only the new phase that's being developed, or that's for everything, like you had mentioned, right? It's
everything.
Pecan Valley. So as long as 50% of the owners that they signed that petition, or even if it could have been one owner, right, being the owner of that 50% of that land, they passed it, and now the Pecan Orchard, which is also for future development of commercial, all Pecan Valley, all that, no longer is gonna pass through the city. It's all with the county, correct?
Yes.
Got it.
Who initiated the petitions?
The property owners?
Which
In
one?
we received the petition from, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name.
Was it a developer? Was it a?
No,
was
it's
it
a
large
property
parcel
owner.
owner or
A property owner, I'm sorry? No. In the Pecan Orchard, neighborhood. And what initiated their, desire to be removed from the ETJ was the arterial one.
Can you say that last part again?
They initiated it as a result of their of opposition to arterial one, possibly going down from the freeway through Anderson to Alameda. I'm sorry, Socorro Road.
So can you explain how that would benefit? How that would be a pro or a con or?
I don't see how that would, well,
Okay.
right now, this is a City of Socorro initiated project. When the next step for decisions need to be made, more people will need to be brought to the table, as this now doesn't just affect, it affects different, it would still be the county, we would still reach out to these same individuals. It doesn't really impact the process because we're still initiating the process. We're still in the process, trying to determine what the best route is through the NEPA process. Now, when it comes to the next steps after that, requesting funding, will it all be the City of Socorro? Will we have to reach out more to the county for their assistance in funding this, as it's now a regional project? That might impact it in the future, but it's difficult to say.
Okay.
But the city's continuing on with that.
And now this is for arterial one, the process. you
The
just
process for
explained is
arterial one is still moving forward, evaluating the process, trying to reach
Okay,
a
so
route.
going back to the item, which is the subdivision for Vista Bonita, right? How does that affect connecting to Tres Caballos?
The applicant is here, so he might be able to answer that question if you would like.
Okay, well, yeah. Mr.
Mr.
Escobar.
Escobar, or the Trey, do you have a?
Okay, so first question is,
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Chair, Robert Romero, Train Associates, and I'll be able to entertain any questions you may have.
thank you, as a landowner, the developer, the whoever owns a parcel, is it in their benefit for this note to no longer be in the ETJ? Is it a pro for the developer, or where do you stand on it?
For myself, the way I see it, if it's in the ETJ, we just get more hands on the review. If it's not in the ETJ, then it's like a one-stop shop, and we deal with one municipality for reviews and approvals.
Which is a county?
Correct, sir. For this particular case, I know it was removed. I'm not sure what the benefit was. I'm not privy to that information. So I couldn't say why this particular case was removed. There could be different reasons why or why not. So I'm not sure why this one was removed.
Were you guys aware that it was removed prior to today, or no? You represent the developer, right? Or
I do.
You are the developer?
I do represent the developer. Prior to today, I was not aware that it was being removed.
Okay. Okay, so for this subdivision that, can't say it's being proposed to us because it's not being proposed, but do you need access to Tres Caballos?
We do not, and we know that the item's deleted and there's no action being taken, but in the spirit of good faith, Commissioner, we do want to disclose that we will be closing that street. We do not need access to Tres Caballos. There is a bigger plan that's happening, which is the extension of Anderson Road up to North Loop, from Vista Bonita to North Loop. So to answer your question, we do not need access. We can close it. The plan is to close it. No access to Tres Caballos.
If the residents of Rancho Mirabal decide that they do want access, do they have a say-so on whether they have access or don't have access?
I'm not sure which one Rancho Mirabal is.
The one adjacent to it, yeah.
The one,
Rancho Viejo, yeah, I'm
Just
sorry,
west?
Rancho Viejo.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were of the opinion that the residents, or we were under the understanding that the residents wanted to close. And so this was
Okay,
a way for us to.
And they do want to close, but I'm saying if there's a change of mind, what if the city of Socorro wants access? Or wants it to be open?
We could come to a consensus, an agreement, and we can do what's best for the community. We can leave it open or
Who
close.
has the final say, the developer or the city of Socorro? Like,
Since all the improvements are outside of the city of Socorro, I would fare on the side that the developer has the final say
on whether they need access or not?
on whether we want to close it or not. We don't even have to include a street there.
But as of today, you want to close it? You're okay with
As of
this
today,
closing?
we are okay with closing it, yes, sir.
Can you show the map on the, can you show that map on there? The plat? Yeah, the plat that's being proposed, because there's a main street that comes through your development that comes and ties in right up to, straight to Tres Caballos.
No, it's not.
Will you be connecting any water lines or sewer lines through Tres Caballos?
We are connecting a sewer line. No water, but
On
we are
Tres
connecting a
Caballos?
sewer line.
You're-
Yeah, there's an existing sewer line from Tres Caballos that we're connecting to. Yes, sir.
Okay, but not water.
I believe not so, just sewer. We do have utilities through that street.
Okay, okay, can you blow that up a little bit, or? And if you can come down where the subdivision butts into Tres Caballos? I think it's gonna be on the opposite end, okay. So can you point out Tres Caballos right there for us? So it's that one, okay, that one right there where the crusher's at. Okay, so that road goes or dissects the entire subdivision that you're proposing, right? It goes all the way through, which is great. It seems like good planning. But my question is, would the developer be okay with redrawing that last block to where it's one complete block instead of having a through street right there connecting to Tres Caballos? You would gain 2 more lots, looks like. But you see, or a bigger pond or a bigger park or whatever that is.
We can definitely reevaluate that. However, just to reiterate, we are not proposing the plat here. We're outside of the
Understood,
ETJ,
yeah.
and we're not here to discuss the layout.
Yeah, but we've had good conversations with Mr. Escobar in the past, right, and with yourself. And so it's just a question, would you be willing to replat that
Yes, sir.
to put the constituents or the neighbors at ease, a little bit of,
Yeah, I'll let Mr. Escobar answer
okay.
that.
Mr. Escobar?
Hi, how's everybody? Now, I'm sorry I'm late. Having known and worked before with the people from
Yes.
Rancho Viejo, we understood the necessity, okay? But we can't take it upon ourselves to close the street, okay? So what we did is we negotiated with the neighbor. We're gonna extend Anderson on the side of the orchard. So we're not gonna touch any of the houses that are there. It's gonna be on the side of the orchard. That's gonna be our main point of access plus the road in the back. Now, if the city of Socorro and the neighbors so wish it, and you either put a crash gate or you block the road or you do whatever you do, has nothing
So it's
Okay.
between the city of Socorro and the residents of Rancho Viejo.
That's
nothing to do with it.
completely up to you. Our neighborhood, we have to leave it like this for accessibility. If later on, like you did, you close the road or don't close the road, that has nothing to do with us. So right now, we have our minimum 2 points of entry, we have an extra one, and we're still gonna get another one once the warehouses are built. So again, that's totally dependent on the city of Socorro.
Okay.
I'll
So-
add, okay.
So, did you purchase the land in the orchard or that right away to connect from this subdivision down to North Loop?
Negotiating with the man right now.
You're negotiating with those owners, and so it's is that gonna be,
What kind of deal we're gonna do, but
is that a 60-foot or 45-foot right away, or what?
Oh,
What is
60.
60-foot. And so that means that there's no need in the future to come into the Rancho Viejo side.
I can't say something that the county has authority over. I'm just saying that we're putting in a 60-foot right of way in order to access the subdivision.
Okay, so you have Rancho Viejo, and then on the other side of Rancho Viejo, that development that came up through there, that all the homes are already built, there's a majority of those. So we had kind of the similar issue, and we had an abutting street, similar to Tres Caballos, and we were here and we saw that coming through, and then you as a developer decided to build a lot on there to completely close it off.
Well, if you remember well, at that time, we were not offered a choice. A board member that was here took it upon herself and basically forced us to do that, okay? And things have changed, things are more transparent now, things are more open, and God is, like I said, I cannot close a road. I don't have that authority. So,
But you can redraw.
if the neighborhood and the city strike an agreement, do a crash gate, I don't know, block the road, cancel the road, that, I don't have that kind of authority.
Okay. But you could redraw that block.
I could do a lot of things, but trust me, right now, this is the legal way to do it, I'm doing it
Okay.
correctly.
Okay, so it's clear to everybody, it's between the city and the residents whether that Tres Caballos will be open or closed.
But right
And-
now, it'll be open.
For right now, it's gonna be open, there's gonna be connected,
And
okay.
that's the way it's supposed to be now. But again, if the city of Socorro and the residents strike an agreement, so choose, then that has nothing to do with us.
Okay, so you're close to cutting a deal going through the orchard, right, to North Loop, but you haven't purchased that, okay. When are you proposing to start development in,
As soon as we have that agreement,
as soon as you have that agreement, okay?
and we pass everything from the county,
What's the time frame on that? A year, less?
the next 3 or 4 months.
Sir, I'm sorry, can you get a little closer to the microphone, please?
The next 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months, okay. Let's say you do the agreement and it happens, right? Okay, will you be, because you still got to build a road through there, right? Okay, so will you start development after you build that road or before? And I'm talking about moving dirt and.
It'll be all done at the same time, sir.
Okay.
And
do you-
basically, what we'd have to do, we have to prepare that to go into the subdivision. I wouldn't have big trucks or anything going through the neighborhood. I know the neighbors, I worked with you
Yeah, and
before.
that's where I'm going with that, yeah.
And not only have I worked with you before, but I want to say I kept my word every time that, everything I said. So there would be no trucks and. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so.
So no 18-wheelers, nothing
Let
coming
me-
into the.
Let me say this. When I went into this partnership, I knew exactly what I had to do, because I had worked with you before, okay? And we're doing exactly what we should do as good neighbors, as good developers in Socorro. We're not here, I said this before, we own too much land to make enemies in Socorro. So we know exactly what we're doing, we keep our word, and they can vouch for it, okay? So
I agree with everything you just said. We work really well with all the other subdivisions. I think you do what, try to be a good neighbor for the most part. I see that. I think we all agree on that. So, okay. That's it for now. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that comment, I think that gives a lot of closure to a lot of the residents, because when I saw the item, I said, oh, it's gonna be a tough one, right? I personally, thank you, I have no interest, don't live anywhere nearby, but giving them the peace of mind that it's gonna be closed,
I was having dinner in Juarez, and I drove over here like a maniac.
and being a man of word, that goes a long way, especially if the residents know you, and if it's gonna give them a little bit of closure to where their area is gonna be respected. As a commissioner, I thank you for taking care of the neighbors as well in Socorro. Yeah, that was gonna be my comment since the beginning, and having the residents now have the decision whether they wanna connect it or not, I think it's a plus for them. And like the residents is saying that, right? They want no intersection or nothing open there. Then at that point, I think that would be with the city. That's where we're here for you guys, to help you out in that. Whatever we have to maybe do, if it's allowed, to not have it open there. But thank you on my end for that, for taking care of them.
I have another question. I'm sorry. Okay, is there any state law or city ordinances, like Socorro ordinance or county ordinance? The county has, I don't know if the county's have one, that says that the city must give access to an adjacent subdivision, or the city has the right to deny access to an adjacent subdivision? Because this is a subdivision that's outside of the city limits. And so, is there any legislation that governs these decisions, or is it a matter of a city council decision?
Our ordinances, the subdivisions, connectivity, counting the number of access, there's a minimum number of access points that a subdivision needs to provide. And that's a developing a new subdivision. This Rancho Mirabal, the subdivision that you live in, as you know, has existed before the city of Socorro's ordinances came into place. If the residents of Rancho Mirabal want to formally request to close off the street, and then go further than that and say vacate the stub out, that would be the next step to formally go through that process, is what I'm thinking.
Okay, and for clarification, because I need my own clarification. Okay, so the new development, Mr. Escobar said that they're okay. They have the access points that they have. They need 2, and then they're going to build a 3rd, and then a potential 4th one when they develop the warehousing. Rancho Viejo has only 1 access point, and the city ordinance requires more than 1 for that subdivision. But the neighborhood can come in and say, we're okay with that. We just want 1. We're fine. It's been like that for 120 years. We don't want any access through there. Who
Again,
has that?
The process would be, again, I don't know, I don't have all the answers for you today. I would say that the next step to officially close off that street and make that request so that staff can evaluate it, and who that recommendation needs to come from and final action needs to be taken by, is that city council action, then yes, that would be a question for me to look into and provide for the residents of that subdivision and the one behind it, because not just Rancho Mirabal, it's also Rancho Escondido.
They're all friendly neighbors. There's 5, 6 lots out there. The one on the other side, the new homes, they're in line. But okay, so you mentioned vacate.
Vacate the stub out.
That
So that
stub
is no
out.
longer
Can you
a city
define
street.
that? What does
I
that
can
mean?
look into that, if that's what the residents of the neighborhood.
But what does vacate mean?
Vacate means that it is no longer a city street. It is private property, and then the whole resolution of where that property, who that property now belongs to.
So when you say private property, it means that someone can purchase
Because
it.
somebody could purchase it.
Who could purchase
The
it?
adjacent property owners,
The adjacent property owners, which is
about 6 houses that
1,
abut,
2, 3, 4.
6 houses that abut that street. But again, that's probably a different item, not related to this agenda, I don't think.
Well, I
because
know,
we-
but it's general discussion, and the gentleman here, I mean, they've been on this for 10 years already, right? And so it's good information. Yeah, it's right there.
But again, this is the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Okay.
This is one item, and while these items are related to it, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. And we can, as staff, look into them and schedule a meeting to discuss them further and try to see what guidelines we have to make that decision of whether or not that street should be vacated.
Okay, I have a question for the attorney.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
You need to
Okay.
come up to the podium.
I have a question for Mr. Body. Permítame, Chuy, por favor, permítame. So, Mr. Body, when a street like this or a stub out like this gets vacated and the homeowners purchase, do they purchase the entire street, or do they just purchase a strip at the end, maybe 5 foot wide, or the easement that's over there's like a 45-foot easement? Or do they have to purchase the entire street from where it butts into the subdivision? The new subdivision and where it butts into Rancho Viejo? Or how does that work?
No, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure of the logistics of it. Probably have to get a survey done of what's being vacated, and then the city vacates, and then they determine what amount of the roadway is being vacated. But it's probably not the full thing. It's probably just the end of it. But yeah, it just depends on what a survey also comes up with.
Okay, and so, okay, understood. And this is for staff, or Ms. Camito as well, and for you, what do the residents need to do at this point to get it on an agenda item, to start the vacate process? What process is there? What do we do?
I think the first step would just be to schedule a meeting, knowing that this information, that the request is coming. We can gather whatever information we need and what we have that we can find in the ordinance, and then go from there. So I would say to give us a week or two to gather that information.
Okay, and they can schedule a meeting directly with you?
Yes. So just to call our office.
Okay, I'm good for now.
The gentleman.
Gentlemen,
Had a question.
we have to open the front, no, it's open,
No,
right?
it's still
Anybody that would like to comment?
My name is Jesus Cabrera, and I live on Tres Caballos. Unfortunately, I'm one of the owners who has the biggest lot over there, and I need to keep in peace over there. You know, I like that area because it's quiet. And just my point, so you know, since we're discussing about this street, if you see that subdivision used to be George Thomas, and the grandfather drawing for that area, Tres Caballos is a cul-de-sac. They never built a 45 feet cul-de-sac on that street, at the end of the street. So that would be, I guess, the first point to start. Why they never built the cul-de-sac? It has a 45 feet radius, and I think Mr. Sarcido has that drawing, because that's when they gave me when I bought the property in 1994. So we've been fighting for this, you know, to try to keep this area enclosed, you know, just only these people that we know. And I know they're planning to build the big road. I'm fine with that, and as long as the street is closed. So, thank you for Mr. Escobar, you know, to help us, but I just want you to consider, that street's supposed to be a cul-de-sac. So, that's all what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any other
Comments?
questions?
Can you state your name for the record?
One second, just clarifying, I thought these comments were originally was part of the EJT. Good evening, my name is Jeremy Hendricks. Good evening, Planning Board, Planning and Zoning Board. Let me introduce myself. My name is retired Sergeant Major Jeremy Hendricks. I am a 28-year retired combat veteran. I served 4 tours in Iraq, and I retired here in El Paso, where I call home. You don't know me yet, but in the future, you may know me well. As well as the city council and the mayor now know me, as I've been fighting tooth and nail against Arterial 1 to save my property. I'm here tonight as I'm concerned about what was item number 5 on the agenda. As the plot of land that we're talking about is right across from my property. And I don't know what's gonna happen with that plot of land. I'm not sure whether it's gonna be a warehouse or duplexes or residential property or parks or what. And I really don't care what happens over there. But what I am concerned about is that that property may open up the road across from my property. And that's really concerning to me. As I do live in Rancho Villa and I live on Tres Caballos, the road we're talking about. And I'm concerned as I do not want Tres Caballos to open up or any of the other access roads. I want it to remain a closed street. As you know, Rancho Villa is a one-way road in and one-way road out. It's relatively a community watch neighborhood. The crime is low, the traffic is low, and we kind of like it that way. At the moment, that road opens up for any reasons, whether it be for emergency purposes, for construction, that road will never close. So we need to ensure that that road never opens. There's no legitimate reason in my mind that we open that road. So I'm here tonight to voice my concerns over that plot of land to ensure that that road stays closed. I'm pretty sure I could speak for all residents inside our neighborhood that we do just that. And if you keep that road closed, it'll keep the traffic out of our neighborhoods, and our neighborhood will stay relatively safe as it is now. So keep your traffic out of our neighborhood, keep the warehouses from being built over there, and keep your construction vehicles off of our road. And again, I just want to reiterate, if we keep that road closed as it is now, everybody will be happy and safe and sound, and the neighborhood will have the low volume of traffic as it does now. We won't have speeding issues. We won't have people running up and down the road, cruising and littering, and kids will be able to play. Although we don't have a lot of kids in the neighborhood, we do have kids. But again, I just want to continue to keep our neighborhood safe like we do now. So I think I could speak for everybody in the neighborhood. It's a closed road. We bought the property when it was closed, and we'd like to keep it closed. So I'd like to keep Arterial 1 out of our neck of the woods, and I'd like to keep that road, along with all the other access roads, closed. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Salcido, ¿verdad? Mr. Salcido?
Good evening. My name is Fernie Salcido. I'm a resident of Rancho Miribal. I've been there for 36 years, almost 37 years, coming up pretty quick. We have been addressing this issue since 2015. I've got 11 years on this, and I've got all the paperwork here trying to keep that road closed. I'd like to thank Mr. Escobar for doing Haciendas de Socorro. He blocked the road, put the rock wall. He went as far as allowing Rancho Viejo Street extended into 1 acre tracts, the continuation with our theme there, the 1 acre tracts minimum, and on to up to 5 acres per resident. So first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Escobar. Secondly, on one of the maps that I saw, I don't know if it's the latest one or what, but that street that comes down and it butts up to Tres Caballos is Playa Bonita Way. Is that correct? On another map that I saw, for that one block, that they had named it Tres Caballos and extended the name Tres Caballos onto your subdivision. I would like to request that we remove that, for the reason being that should we be able to close that road on Tres Caballos on the Socorro end of it, I would not like that name to be on there, because if you do the Google, everybody's gonna come in, builders and whatnot will be coming into Tres Caballos to gain access to that. And we'll have a continuation of the road deterioration on our neighborhood, if that would be possible. Just extend your name the way you have it as Playa Bonita Way, and omit Tres Caballos in your subdivision. Yes, sir.
Just want to speak into the mic for the record. I think we don't oppose to that, sir. I think we would have to just follow the city's procedure on street naming and whatever. Cities, well, inside, you're talking about.
Yeah, up
Okay.
here in your
In our area, we can keep the name that we have, which is Playa Bonita.
And this one has it.
One of the other maps is showing one lot with Escalades.
Yeah. Got it. It's probably an error, sir. The intention is to name it as Playa Bonita, and we intend to keep it as a separate street name.
Yes.
Inside the city, I'm not sure if there's any change that you want there, but
Not inside the city
Yeah.
of Socorro, just on your.
we have no issue. I mean, we've already renamed it, and we intend to keep it a different name.
I would greatly appreciate that. Just for the reason that I stated earlier, with the GPS, people coming in and trying to gain access to your development.
We understand. I do want to add a couple more caveats to that. When we name street names, we have to coordinate with city, we coordinate with county, and we also coordinate with 911. So all those entities would have to be in agreement. We have no issue with it, though, and we will definitely try to do that, sir.
Yes, sir, I understand that, to the point. And like I say, I just saw two different maps with, this is the latest one, it's not showing it. Great, I'm in agreement with that. And then, we'll address the other issue of trying to close the road on the Socorro end of it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you all. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I don't have anything.
So I guess for Ms. Camilo, one question. Do you foresee the city not wanting or not
I do not,
allowing?
I do not have an opinion on that right now. I don't know.
Give
We
us-
need to see what we would need to review,
Uh-huh.
what kind of information we should consider before closing the street.
Okay, okay, you're good.
Okay, so I will close, discussion on item number 5. Move on to number 6.
We needed to
Oh,
vote.
and we actually,
Oh.
yeah, we just need to take a vote on that motion on the
If
second to
motion
delete
isn't
that item.
changing, then you would just take the vote.
Okay, so I make a motion to,
No, she can just call the vote if the
Okay.
discussion is closed.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion?
aye.
Any nay? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 6, consider and take action on the approval of a replat for Trujillo subdivision Unit 2, replat B, being a replat of Lot 1B, Block 1, Trujillo subdivision Unit 2, replat A, located at 10330 Socorro Road, Socorro, Texas, to allow for duplex. Ms. Quimito?
Thank you, Yadira. Since I hadn't had a chance to say it earlier. Good afternoon, good evening. Chairman and Commissioners. Item number 6 is a subdivision replat request. The request is for approval of a replat for Trujillo subdivision Unit 2, replat B, being a replat of Lot 1B, Block 1, Trujillo subdivision Unit 2, and this is located at 10340 Socorro Road. So if we could make a floor amendment to the address, the legal description is correct. The property owner, Alejandro Portillo, Ava Developments LLC, has made the request for the replat. Their representative, Mr. Dorado from Dorado Engineering Group, is present to answer any questions that you might have. The property is 2.36 acres in size, currently zoned R2 and vacant. In summary, the request is for approval of a replat for Trujillo subdivision, Unit 2, replat B, to allow for duplexes. Staff recommends approval of the request. As I mentioned, the property is zoned R2, medium density residential. It is surrounded by various different zoning designations. A1 in green, the agricultural, R1 yellow, C1 commercial, and R3 high density residential. The aerial image shows the vacant lot, the area that is still being used for agricultural land to the rear of the property, residential developments ranging from single-family to more of the rural developments, and some vacant land as well. These are photographs of the property taken from the adjacent subdivision. This top one is from Mackenzie Ann Place, and the bottom one is from Carter Scott Place. This is the original plat for Trujillo Unit 2, replat A. The large tract was divided in two, and they are proposing 11 lots. You all, maybe Mr. Reza and Ms. Rodriguez didn't get to see this, but the plat had originally been approved, the preliminary plat had originally been approved with the rezoning in June in 2023. There were, however, issues that came up as we were reviewing the subdivision adjacent to it and the engineer was preparing the subdivision improvements. The remainder of QPEC Road, which is the street that separates this subdivision from the subdivision just underneath it, which is Sombras de Misiones, was not a developed street. So this was a vacant road and, an undeveloped road. The access to Sombras de Misiones, it was, had barriers to it, and it did not make sense to only have the developer develop half of the road. So the staff met with the developers and proposed some changes so that the developer could build the street. So that development agreement was approved by City Council. I believe that the one other change that was worth mentioning, they are only building the street and the sidewalks on their side of the development, that there's an opportunity to develop the southern part for a shared use path with funds from a active transportation grant from TxDOT that the City of Socorro's special projects team was able to secure, and we are in the process of developing those plans, meeting with the property owners that are adjacent to this property, and to align the shared use path to take us from the Socorro Mission through the back, across our property here, down through the Socorro Road, and meandering over to San Elizario. So this would be part of the Paso del Norte Trail project that is being developed by the Paso del Norte Trail Association to develop a trail that will connect you across the whole county, from the Upper Valley all the way down to the end of the county limits. Sorry, that was a lot of information, but this is going to be a very, very nice development with in partnership with the developers. They are 11 lots ranging in size from 9,046 to one which is 5,791,000, so just under 6,000 square feet. Another allowance that the city gave the developer was for on-site ponding instead of the 11th lot for the ponding site. And again, this is to assist the city. We don't know when the city would have found or would have had the money to build out the street. In summary, the request is for approval of a replat for Trujillo Subdivision Unit 2, replat B to allow for the duplexes. And with that, staff can answer any questions, and again, the representative is here to answer any questions as well.
Is it currently zoned for duplexes?
Yes, it's R2.
Okay, and you might have said it a while ago, but are these on-site,
On-site ponding.
On-site ponding? Okay. And the total right-of-way?
I wrote it down. The undeveloped right-of-way was 33.92 feet, and they are providing an additional
Approximately. 30 feet, another 30 feet, maybe?
Sorry, I don't see where I wrote it down. Do you remember how much the right of way for, in the? 18 feet. They're dedicating 18 feet from this subdivision
So it's 40
to,
feet total, right?
QPEC Road.
It's gonna be a total of 11 duplexes, 22 units?
Yes.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions.
No? I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approve, second by Osvaldo Reza. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 7, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report. Commissioners?
Well, question, were we gonna have another commissioner present today? I think one of them was appointed, no?
Mm-hmm. Got to move to the,
I was gonna say yes, however, he was sick, so he wasn't able to make it.
Okay.
Mr. Rafael Carrillo.
Yes.
Look forward to having a new member on the board.
Mr. Carrillo, right?
Rafael Carrillo.
Work
And,
back
he-
full, huh?
I believe he stated that he had previous P&Z experience, but I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Problem. Any other reports?
I have a question.
Yes.
So now that we don't have these ETJ areas,
That one in particular, but yes.
that one in particular, do they still follow a master plan?
No.
From the city? Okay,
No.
so there is no master plan for them.
They're in the county.
They're off the books now. Okay.
And even
So
the master plan wouldn't apply to the ETJ area. It's only the subdivision ordinances that apply to the ETJ area.
So, okay, and just for clarification, right? But when these parcels are in the ETJ, they come through the city for rezoning?
No.
Or
Again,
not for
why-
rezoning, but, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I guess the question is, if it's in the ETJ, what does the city have? Even
So
if it is
again,
in the
the history of the extraterritorial jurisdiction is very long. So when they were first proposed and first put into place, cities had a lot more to say, and they could do a lot more in areas outside of their boundaries. It used to be a lot easier for cities to annex area. People would want areas outside of their boundary to have good infrastructure, to have roads that lined up. Because in the future, it was a possibility that those places could get annexed by the city. Well, that's changed. The city no longer has any authority to annex an area that it doesn't own. Annexations need to be property owner driven. The city can even refuse to annex a property because the city has to show that they are going to provide services within and in what time to these areas. So trying to think of areas where you may be familiar with, even just anywhere near us, that they're really not developed. Well, they never got the services that because they were outside of the city and city requirements. And it's been how many years later and they still don't have those services. And then back then they might not have been required as forcefully as they are now. And so that authority of cities to be able to exercise any kind of authority in the ETJ is just over time dwindled.
So this last pecan orchard, the one in this area that we're talking about, I understood that it got rezoned.
No,
It didn't get rezoned? 'cause
it's outside of the city limits. If it's outside of the city limits, it does not have zoning.
And
If it's in the county, it has no zoning. One of the things that the city can do as a home rule city, as a city, is to provide those rules and regulations, which is the zoning and the subdivisions, but they're backed up by our master plan.
so So I thought that that pecan orchard, that warehouse, I thought that that had come through zoning board. It was approved in December sometime, and then it came back.
Are you talking, and we're still talking about the El Paso County,
Yeah, the last
the,
warehouse issue
just
that we
past
had.
your just
Yeah.
past Rancho Viejo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's outside of the city limits. It was in the ETJ at the time we looked.
It wasn't a zoning, it was
It was an ET,
it was a plotting, I think we had approved
the plat,
the plot.
yeah, the
And
plat.
then
And
why would it come back?
because it was the
that second-
preliminary and final,
It was a
Yes,
preliminary.
so
and a
it was a preliminary and final, but then, yes,
That's how we ended.
that's why we had seen it before.
But it was not for zoning.
It was not for
It was
zoning,
not for zoning.
and it was before that area got removed as well. So
Yes.
that area was removed as well, but it was after
Yes.
they had submitted everything.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I'm almost saying that nothing really changes. You know, they're
Well,
just
I
missing
think-
this step, and
Right.
like the gentleman said right now, it's just
But it's
one
in their
less-
best interest to create
Absolutely, it's
more,
to facilitate their process.
properties that are going to be inviting and
Yeah.
properties
It's
that
in-
people are going to want to live in.
It's in their
Now, the
best interest or
advantage is that
No, it's in
sometimes
their
people do
interest.
like that ability to do their own thing, and that's what they can do in the county.
I mean, he did say it's like a one-stop shop, it's like, they won't.
Now
have
it's a
to-
one-stop shop.
Absolutely, with the county,
With the
so,
Or, I'm sorry.
no, go for it.
Well, like you're saying, well, yeah, they can develop into a nice area, who knows? Or somebody can come in and there's a lot of vacant land there and they could build a industrial area of a
Yeah.
ton of warehouses up there.
Mhm.
right?
But I think at the
We-
same time is that's what happened to us the last time, is that the state dictates because of the ordinances or regulations that they have. So our hands were really tied. Okay, so I think that if there's residents of Socorro, and I'm gonna speak to all of us and to those that might be listening, is that if you are a resident of Socorro and you do not like what is happening to our community because the state is mandating House bills or laws, then you have to get out there and vote. That is where it changes. And I think people don't understand that because we found out during our last meeting that our hands were tied, that we could not dictate what developers can do out there. So if we want to change that, then people have to get out there and vote.
Correct.
So that we can make the changes or block changes that affect our community, our small community. We have to do it because it starts here. And that's what we found out the last time. So I think it's important. And it's early voting right now, and people need to get out there and say, I'm fed up with what's happening with our county, our communities, and the city of El Paso, and so this is where you make the change. Because we cannot do it, and I think that people do not understand that our hands are tied, and we cannot dictate what we can and cannot do with land that is developed. We found that out.
Correct. I'll throw in my 2 cents. I think before, if anything, it was just making it harder for us because we
Absolutely.
really didn't have a say. We
Yes.
couldn't say anything in ETJ. And it's literally canceling us out because we either way didn't have an ETJ,
Absolutely.
and now it's just going to the county and then
That's right.
maneuvering everything over there. I
Absolutely.
think that's just the place where we need to be at, and it removes us from actually having a say
Right.
there.
Right.
Because we really couldn't do anything before,
We couldn't change it.
right?
Okay. So go vote.
That's,
Go vote, yes, go vote.
go vote.
That's
Early
right.
voting is open.
Thank you, Commissioners. Now moving on to item number 8, Planning and Zoning Department Report. Ms. Camito?
I didn't have any other items other than the reporting that we have a new member who should be starting next meeting.
I was looking forward to meeting him today.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Camito. Now moving on to the last item, number 9, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I have a motion made by Yolanda Rodriguez to adjourn, second by Andrew Arroyos. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 6:41. Thank you all for coming.